Imagine turning a bad credit situation into a $60,000 Chase Business Inc. approval in just a couple of months. And I already know it sounds impossible, right? Well, I'm telling you that it's not, because I'm about to walk you through exactly how one of my clients just did this step by step. So what I want you to do is go grab your pen and paper. No, really, go grab it, because I need you to get all of these data points so you can do the same exact thing. And without further ado, let's dive in. So I want to give a big shout out to Brandon. Shout out to you, bro, because you allowed me to use your story to help other people in this video. So I'm just going to give you all the information that he utilized to actively get this approval. So the first thing that he did was join the HowToCredit Start program, because his credit was in rough shape. His credit was in the high 500s, low 600s. He had a business and he was trying to scale up, but he couldn't get business funding. So he definitely had to clean up his derogatory items. So that means that we got rid of late payments, charge-offs, collections, inquiries. Anything he had negative on his credit report, we had to get rid of it, all right? We definitely had to restructure his DTI, things of that nature. We definitely had to get everything sound away so that he can get approved. And not only with the negatives, but also the positives as well. We had to make sure that his positive side was good, and we made sure everything was in order, okay? And now, here are the final results before applying for literally anything, okay? Literally anything. His experience score was a 723. His TransUnion, 730. Now, his Equifax, 751. Now, listen closely. Chase pulled from Experian in his case. But as I've said in past videos, even if you're new, I'm just going to tell you now, banks like Chase sometimes like to do a double pull, meaning that they will check more than one credit bureau. So you have to make sure that your entire profile is tight. Please do not come, or don't come to me or try to go to, Chase thinking that just because your experience is good that they won't. No, I'm telling you right now, because even when I applied years ago, they pulled my Experian and my TransUnion at the same time. And I'm just here to let you know also that, just to drop you a gem, wherever you reside does matter, okay? So that resides. So just have all three of them in order, and then we'll continue to keep going. But let me keep going. Now, the business was structured as an LLC, okay? And it has been around for almost 2 years, so about a 2-year LLC. Now, this does matter a lot, because age on entities builds a little more trust with certain entities, especially Chase, okay? Because think about it like this. If you were loaning someone money, wouldn't you feel a little better if they had their business kind of running a little smoothly, for a couple of years instead of a couple of months? Well, because banks feel the same exact way. So remember this, the older and more structured the business is, the better your odds. Now, disclaimer, I do see outliers. I have gotten a lot of people approved at Chase that wasn't 2 years old. They were 1-year-olds. They were a few months and things of that nature. So it is possible. But I'm telling you right now, because of the banks constantly changing, having that age kind of helps a little bit. But if you don't have the age, it's okay. You can still progress, okay? I promise you. Now, once you have all of that out the way, you understand where he is. You have kind of like the same thing. You're mirroring it. So let's talk about the business relationship. This was the next very, very important piece. I don't care if you have an 850 credit score, you still need to build internal relationship points with the bank you're applying through, okay? I get so many people in so many comment sections say, I want to apply without doing a relationship. I don't have time for that. You had time to comment, but you didn't have time to. Anyway, he had a Chase business checking account with them for over 6 months. And in the last 2 months, he maintained over $8,000 in the account. Now, I'm not telling you to have $8,000 in the account. I'm just telling you what he had. But I'm telling you this because it's also called fractional reserve banking. You're showing Chase that you're moving real money through their system, thus helping them to loan out more money. So what does that actively mean for you? So that means what you need to do is open the business account early and use it regularly, okay? So let some money sit in that account, at least $500 to $5,000 or more consistently, so it can build those internal points with this bank. You want to get some type of net rating with them so they feel more comfortable loaning you out money. So now you have the great credit score, you have the internal points, and you also have money in their ecosystem. Next, let's talk about the personal credit, all right? I know I talked about it before, but I just wanna go a little deeper, a little more in depth when it came to, the credit report, because like I said, all of my videos, and I'm gonna keep beating that dead horse until you understand, it's not about your score, it's about your profile. And I didn't go into his profile, so let's go ahead and get into that. He had 3 years of credit history, okay? So that means his credit age was an average of 3 years. Not the best, but not the worst. He had 3 paid off loans in that time span that were still affecting his credit in a positive way because they were closed. And he had 2 personal credit cards. Both limits were $5,000 or higher, okay? He had a Navy Federal of $10,000 and he also had a Capital One of $5,500, okay? And the reason why I'm telling you this is because you need to have some type of comparable credit. Banks want to see if you've managed similar amounts of money successfully before they trust you even more, okay? Because if you have a very high limits on the personal side, the underwriter will feel a little better to approve you for way higher limits because they see that you can manage personal consumer debt. So now they understand that you will possibly, on paper, actually, take care of that business, money as well, the business funding as well, okay? The reason why is because you're gonna have to PG the money anyway. Unless you're making $4 to $10 million in revenue, which is called corporate credit. If you don't have that, then you're gonna have to PG. So that means if your name is Bob and you're vouching for Bob LLC, but you have very high limits on the personal side, it's gonna help on the business side. I can even give you a better example. That's just like if you've never had a auto loan in your life on your credit report, and then you go in and try to go get a McLaren or even some type of car that costs $80,000 or more, but you have an 800 credit score, you're gonna get denied. Or you're gonna get something so outlandish where it's like, no, I'm not signing that. You see what I'm saying? Because you don't have the comparable credit. It's like, yeah, the score looks cool, but you never had something this massive on your credit report before, so we don't feel comfortable loaning you this. But if you've had a $50,000 car before, or a $40,000 car, and then you go for an $80,000 car, $100,000 car, they feel a little more comfortable. It's the same thing with business funding and personal credit, okay? So if you want to qualify for big business funding, your personal credit needs to show some type of maturity and responsibility on top of a nice score. Does that make sense? So with all that being said, mirror not only, the data points, but mirror his credit score as well. You know what? Super exceeded. Next, let's talk about the business income and employees, okay? Now, I know some of you probably won't have employees, but I just want to give you the information anyway. The business that he was in was landscaping, okay? So with that being said, he had over 8 employees and was projected to make over $582,000 in revenue. Now, this is not current income, this is projected income. But the reason he was able to show that so confidently is because of the contracts and the business pipeline he had in place. And he knew that he was going to get well over this, but he just wanted to really keep it safe. So here's the thing. Banks aren't just looking at your past, they're also going to look towards the future. That's what the difference between personal credit and applying for personal funding and business funding, all right? So when you're applying, don't just fill in some random number. Don't fill in 582,000 because I told you to fill in 582,000. There's a reason why he put that. But you want to back it up with real data just in case if they ask. So if contracts or any reasonable estimation based off of your operations, please more so just have this in place, okay? I know a lot of people tell you to put certain numbers and things like that, but I mean, if you're not gonna make anything, put 0. But if you're projected to make X amount of dollars, you can definitely do that. Just don't say you're gonna make $5 million and you're not gonna make $5 million because they're gonna flag it and be like, we're not gonna prove it, and then you can't. Now you're sitting there looking crazy with a $500 limit. Next, let's go into the application status. They actually walked into the branch and applied in person. I know a lot of people like to do it online, but I'm more of an advocate of doing it in person. This is the smart move because it builds even more rapport with the bank, and you get to speak to a rep who can escalate your file internally, okay? So you have that rapport. It's gonna be way easier for them to do this. Now again, they did pull from Experian only this time, but remember, you should always prepare for a double or triple pull or anything of that nature. Now, once the app was in, boom, he got approved for $60,000 on the Chase Business Inc. card. He was ecstatic. Now, I already knew that he was gonna get a high limit because he was utilizing my, relationship manager, but You know, just having all of these data points, you can do the same exact thing. I'm telling you right now. He was so ecstatic because he never got approved for anything that high on the business side before, but I kept telling him we're not done. Hold on, the 60,000 is cool, but we're not done. The reason why I said we're not done is because he said, what is the plan now? I said, we're gonna stack. We're gonna continue to stack. Because once this first card hits the mailbox, we're going to help him get another business credit card and more business funding on the next go around. And he's likely gonna get over $175,000 in approvals, probably even more than that. Now, this isn't no super duper hidden secret sauce or nothing like that. It's no super duper secret hack. This is just a blueprint. And if you follow the right steps and use the data points, the funding will immediately follow, ladies and gents. The reason why is because I'm not telling you to go to Chase, click back 2 times, put it in incognito mode, turn off your Wi-Fi, turn it on, you're gonna get $100,000 approval. Not a late night hack, it's none of that, all right? Because you gotta understand, yo, these people watch these videos too. So why not give you the right information so when you go in, they don't have to raise their eyebrow and be like, what's going on here, all right? So these are the proper steps to get you the approval. I literally showed you right here how he was able to do this. Now, I know he did it through my rep, which he got a higher limit, but you can do the same exact thing and get the same. You might even get more. So with all that being said, let me give you a quick recap for the people in the back that's been skipping through and things of that nature. You need to get your scores in order, all right? 720 or higher across the board. Age of your business matters, and you can definitely start with the LLC. You don't have to get an S corporation or C corp or anything like that. The next thing, open a business account and build that relationship. Remember, like I said, fractional reserve banking. Next thing, use your personal credit to show history and comparables. Present strong revenue potential and employee structure, okay? I'm telling you, this is gonna work with you tremendously. Apply smart and just apply in the branch. So at least they can put a face to the name so they know what is actively going on. And you can get approved and stack all of the funding the correct way. This client literally followed the blueprint, and now you're about to be on the path to 6 figures in funding as well. So if you're ready to do the same exact thing and you want to utilize the same relationship manager he did, then what I want you to do is click the link below and schedule your free consultation with me and my team. We'll build you a strategy to get you the funding that you're looking for, and more importantly, get you the result. Even if your credit is not where it needs to be, I'm still gonna help you from there, from the foundation, to get you the funding that's all the way at the top. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. I really hope that this helps somebody. You know, just really utilize these data points. He just got approved not even like a few weeks ago, something of that nature. So this is very fresh. These are really, really good, you know, initiatives to take forward. And I promise you, you're going to get the actual funding that you're looking for. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. And until next time, ladies and gents.